best. I can think of a lot. The worst ones stick out in my mind. They usually involve just harassment to the point of me succumbing and giving in. I can think of one guy in particular who I went to law school with. I feel bad for him because I know what it's like to like someone when it's unrequited and it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
But oh my god, like I would just not give it a rest. It was like every time I saw him, he was like, so when are we going out? When are we getting coffee? When are we, when I'm going to take you out one night and I'm going to blow your mind, Or if I was reading some book, he's like, I'm going to find out when that author's in town and we're going to go out and it's going to be amazing. And
was it amazing?
Fine. I mean, only one time. I mean, this, like, after 2 years, I finally gave in and met the kid for drinks and felt like I had done my charity for the year and was done with it. Of course, he wasn't done with it, and he thought that meant more harassment.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the worst. One of the best, I really like when men are very direct and very clear. Is that so shocking? It's pretty rare. So instead of, a guy...
You want to hang out sometime?
Well, more just being like, I would really like to take you on a date. Can I have your number? Let's go out, next Thursday. I really appreciate that. Most dating interactions initially are in this nebulous territory of, first night you talk to someone, you regret you didn't get their number, they contact your friend, or they Facebook friend request you and ask if what you're up to for the next few days.
Yeah.
So all that pussyfooting around where they're trying to figure out if they should ask you or not, it's just tedious to me.
So you don't really care for that number thing that women...
I knew we were going to get into this.
that women receive more social stigma for sleeping around than guys do. Kind of annoys me.
I think it's unfair, and I don't think. You asked if you had written it. Can something be sexist and be true?
Yeah. And
I think certainly, yes, something can be sexist and true. In this case, it's not. In this case, I think it's just sexist because they're. We went through a sexual revolution in this country, and it happened for both people. It wasn't just to liberate men. And if men are enjoying sleeping around, they have to be sleeping around with someone. So there have to be women available to sleep with them if that's what they want. And I'm not going to pass judgment on either one, but if it's, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we are as a society saying we are totally fine with men sleeping around, well then we have to be fine with who they're sleeping around with. And that means if you're not going to judge the man, you shouldn't judge the women for it.
Ellen writes, I haven't seen you so giddy. Wow, what a bit of femininity in the hovel can do. Normally I just have guys in here and we're discussing Taurus. So.
Well, I'm glad my effect on you is one of giddiness. But, and likewise, I think if men should, if we are going to judge women for it, because we do still think there is something wrong with it, then I think we also have to pass that judgment on men. I don't think that there's a valid reason for casting aspersion on one and not the other. And I've actually gotten so many replies to that one post. A lot of people were unhappy about it.
What do you think it does to a woman to sleep with a lot of guys?
I think it depends on the woman.
So let's say a lot by more than 30.
Oh God, more than 30. That
As opposed to what do you think it does to a guy to sleep with a lot of girls more than 30?
question. I think one of the problems is men. I think that if you just on the basics, it doesn't do much to either one. I think it depends on the person. If you're a man that really wants to have a lot of sex, it's great because you get to sow your wild oats, and when you're 50 and married with kids, you're not going to be like, God, there are all these women I should have slept with, I missed my chance, and like, you know, trying to stay faithful. As opposed to when, you know, if you're the kind of person that needs to sow your wild oats and you don't, I think you're going to regret it later. And I think that's true for women. Some women need to, you know, be more adventurous and more sexual and find out what's out there. And I think, you know, for some women sleeping, I guess, with over 30 people, they'll be able to be better, you know, more committed to the relationship they ultimately find themselves in. I think it really just depends on the person. Men and women, I think some people that's probably appropriate for, and some people it's not.
So Ellen writes in the chat room, so what advice would you give someone like Luke on attracting a positive relationship?
Well, first...
And she insists that I ask it.
She does. Well, what do you think your problem is? Maybe I can tell you how to fix it. You probably know better than anyone. You're pretty analytical.
Let's come back to that
one. Fair enough. I assume that means you have a definite answer.
What was going on in this photo of yours?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for posting that photo of me.
I was going to email and ask you which photo could I use.
Yes, and you knew I wasn't going to pick that one, right?
I decided
to just go for it.
To just go for it. What was going on in this photo?
It was Halloween. It was the first Halloween I had been single in a long time. And I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
What does your family think of your blogging?
It's a huge issue. They're not happy about it. My dad just said he's tried to read it in the beginning and he will never read it again. My grandmother...
I think maybe the bareback stuff probably freaked him out.
I wasn't talking about personal experience.
I know, but not many fathers want to read their daughter's thoughts on sexual addiction.
I keep telling him I'm going to get a book deal from this blog and then it's going to be worth it. But, yeah, you know, my family did not talk about sex very much. We're fairly close, but we're not the kind of close where, you know, some of those girls that are just like, I tell my parents everything. Yeah. No, that was not my family.
So you guys didn't discuss vaginal versus clitoral orgasms at the Shabbat dinner table?
When I had a boyfriend of like 3 years, he still wasn't allowed to sleep under the same roof as me, according to my parents.
Ellen, I'm of the opinion that sexuality, and more specifically the enjoyment of sexual satisfaction, requires practice and development during experimentation. How do you feel about that and how it collides with waiting for marriage?
A lot of things aren't in accordance with the Torah, though. You know, I don't like to pick and choose, because so many things I think that we accept socially don't. But I think there is something to be said for, especially as a young girl, I think emphasizing waiting to be in love is really important. I think that, you know, the best sex you're going to have is when you are in love. And that, you know, the sexual aspect of a relationship isn't just having sex. It's something that two people explore for, you know, years. And hopefully it's a meaningful enough part of the relationship that it lasts throughout their relationship. So I think there is definitely something to be said for waiting